Alright, today I'll be guiding you guys through VV Ultimatum as a Soul Reaper on release. I just finished making the Hollow Rank R one, so if you plan to go in Rank R, make sure you check that out. And this guy will show you guys how to easily beat and obtain your Shikai. Also tell you how to make the right PvP builds and some things you might have missed when the game was telling you. Please like and subscribe the video as we actually just hit 2,000 subscribers, so thank you for that. And as we hit 2,000 subscribers, YouTube hit me with the great gift of demonetizing me. I don't know why they did that, but since I'm demonetized, I'm not making any money from these videos. So I'm just making these videos for you guys right now, so please hit that like button and subscribe for me, as it would help me out a lot. And let's start with the video. Before you even load in game, I highly recommend you use this VV builder. This game doesn't really let you freely mess around with builds, because if you make a bad one, you either gotta spend 900 Robux to reset it or craft a reset item with materials that are pretty annoying to get early on. So save yourself the time and plan out your build beforehand. Once you get in game and finish the tutorial, there's an optional boss at the end of the tutorial that I definitely recommend doing. Not only does it give some free levels and loot, but it also drops an intelligence extract, which is the only boss other than the securest boss that drops it. Extracts in this game is used for one of the quests in Soul Society Outskirts, which unlocks a shrine that allows you to respawn one of your skills. So unless you want to get the intelligence extract when you're like level 50, because that's when you gotta fight the boss, you should definitely do the boss now. And it's also good practice for learning the combat, so I definitely recommend doing it. After that, you'll finally get to choose your race, and since you clicked on this video, you're obviously going Soul Reaper. And if you plan on making another slot for Hollows, I already made a guide for a rank card, so check that out. Anyways, now that you've picked Shinigami, this is where you get to customize your character. Also, thank you to the British man himself, Revolver AGZ, for letting me use his live streams as footage. This video wouldn't be possible if I didn't have the footage, so go check him out. He makes good content too. Anyways, let's get back into the game. First, we got clans. Honestly, clans in this game aren't really that important. They only give like a small stat boost, and even most of the legendary clans aren't even like crazy or anything, but some of them do come with some pretty funny cosmetics, I'm not gonna lie, which is probably also the main reason people want them. So yeah, now we got innate stats. If you played D Pokemon before, it's basically the same type of system where you buff one thing and while lowering another. Personally, I usually go for less max posture with more melee posture and increased stat scaling, but honestly, just choose whatever fits the kind of build that you want to make, because there's not really one perfect option. Once you spawn in the game, you'll have a little fairy guiding you around, telling you the basics in the game. Once you're done with that, you gotta do quests until you're level 25. If you don't know where the quests are at, press C. They're pretty easy to do, and if you run out of quests in the area, press U. There should be blue markers around each location to tell you where the quests are at. And your Shikai progression doesn't start until you hit level 25, so get to level 25 using the mission tasks and the quests. Once you're finally level 25, your Shikai progression finally begins. Getting Shikai XP is pretty simple. You just need to keep fighting NPCs, doing missions, and fighting random people in combat. So as long as you're hitting something, parrying something, or completing mission objectives, you're gaining progression. What doesn't count though is when you're just running around the map doing nothing, or just sitting meditating for no reason. If your character is literally just sitting on the ground or just sleeping, you do not get anything from that until you get a whisper. Whenever that happens, just press L and meditate. If you ignore the whisper and keep grinding, your Shikai progression basically gets soft locked, and you won't gain any more Shikai XP until you meditate first. So every time you see a whisper pop up, make sure you meditate first and then go back to farming. You'll know when to stop meditating when your character either glows or your character falls asleep. Also, this is probably something most people know, but if you try going to the marsh without a respirator, you're just gonna die. So before heading into that area, make sure you craft a respirator at the crafting table and equip it first. Also, another thing in this game is that you don't actually have to fight players in this game if you don't want to. Before starting the mission, there's an option called dangerous tasks. If you leave it off, nobody can evade your mission, and if you leave it on, other players can evade your mission while you're doing it. If you want to be the one invading people, you'll need an invasion bell, which could also be crafted at the crafting table. Once you have one, you could also invade players who have dangerous tasks enabled. And the last thing I forgot to say is that once you hit around level 35, you could talk to an NPC who tells you to join a squad division. Each division in this game gives you different buffs, so let's go over that. At the time of release, there's currently 4 squads. Squad 4 lets allies heal near you. Personally, I wouldn't go for it unless you're planning a support build. Squad 6 is increased keto scaling, which is pretty good for people who are going SR keto. Squad 11 is a 40% increase in Zangpakto stats, meaning even if it's a bad stat, it's gonna get increased by 40%, so it can either be good or bad. And Squad 12 gives an extra notch, which is a spirit charm slot for free, meaning you can have 4 spirit charm slots instead of 3. If it was up to me, I would go with Squad 12 unless you're going like SR keto or something, because spirit charms in this this game is definitely something that decides your build. They give you certain buffs that can make your build really good with combos and damage in general, but if you do have too much spirit charms, it will go over the limit you're allowed to have, and each extra notch will start decreasing your HP. So unless you think having the extra spirit charm is going to compensate for the HP loss, don't go over 3. Some spirit charms in this game are really good though, so certain builds purposely go over the limit for the extra buffs. You can remove spirit charms by finding a random purple portal around the map, and then you can remove any spirit charm that you want for free. You can also combine spirit charms later on in Mundo. I don't know the exact location yet, but as people spend more time with the game and figure things out, there'll probably be a couple of crazy broken combinations, I'm not gonna lie. Once you reach level 40, the next place you have to go to is the Precipice. If you don't know where it is, it's the city above the giant dragonfly, which is pretty big, so it should be easy to find. Before you head there though, you'll need a King Crocodile skill from the King Crocodile boss in the marsh. The boss is pretty hard to solo though, so I'd recommend fighting with a group unless you've already fought the boss before. And once you got the skill, head to the NPC guarding the gate and hand it over to continue your progression in the Arctic Plains. One of the Shikai progression checkpoints to happen around the halfway point is when your inner spirit asks you, what do you fear the most? I'm not sure why they made it like this, but at the time of recording this, a rank card gets to remove a weapon for the weapon pool, while solo players don't get to remove anything. So it really doesn't matter what you pick here, just choose whatever and continue your progression. Also, another hint is when you run around the map, NPC will sometimes spawn with the audio cue. This means your inner self just spawned on you, and after talking to it, it will disappear and give you a good amount of Shikai XP. Once you start getting closer to reaching your inner world, your screen will sometimes start to go white, but then come back to reality, which means you still have to farm more Shikai XP until you unlock the next stage, which you will be doing for quite a while, I'm not gonna lie. Once you get enough Shikai and meditate again, you'll be teleported into your inner world. Once you're there, run around and follow the blue orbs because they'll lead you to the location of each bell, which is what will help you find your real inner world. Some bells can be completed by just interacting with them, some will make you fight NPCs, and most of them will ask you riddles. If you get the question, I cannot talk, but I always reply when I'm spoken to, pick the answer and echo. If you get what gets broken without being held, pick the answer, a promise. And if you get what is always in front of you but can't be seen, pick the answer, the future. After completing some bells, the game might kick you out and put you back into the main game. Don't worry, that's just the game telling you that you need more Shikai XP before you can continue. You're gonna have to do this like 2 to 3 times, so go back to farming, wait for another whisper, meditate again, and repeat the process. Eventually, you'll interact with all the bells and unlock a quest called the Trial. This quest will tell you to defeat a boss, and once you defeat that boss, you'll need to get another whisper and meditate one more time, which will finally take you into your inner world. Once you're finally in your inner world, talk to your NPC. It randomly spawns in the area, so you'll have to find it. And once you find it and say, lend me your power, it'll start your fight with the Shikai. This isn't the real fight though, as once you talk to it again, it'll just say, you're getting closer. Meaning you'll have to get even more Shikai XP, but don't worry, this is the last time you'll need it. Well, not the last time you need it, but last time you need it for this fight. After getting your last whisper, it's finally time to fight your Shikai. But before starting your fight, I'll quickly teach you about the advanced combat in the game in case you miss any, so you can easily beat your Shikai in a couple of tries. First, we have kanjis. Whenever you parry an M1 or move and then immediately use a crit, a red symbol called a kanji appears above your head. When this happens, your opponent cannot block or parry that crit. The only way to deal with a kanji is dodging it or using the counter button, which is F, which makes your character blade catch the attack. A lot of people will use this in PvP, so make sure you remember how to use this. Remember, you cannot block or parry it, you have to dodge or counter it. Next, we have Z steps. To do a Z step, you have to hold shift, knock your opponent back, use the skill, and then press Q almost immediately after. The timing is pretty hard to do, so if you're too slow, it just won't work. But once you get used to it, Z stepping will become one of the best ways to extend your combos and keep pressure on your opponent instead of letting them get knocked away. Another thing that's good to know is that the game does not have 360 parrying, so you actually need to be facing your opponent to parry your attacks. But thankfully, the parry angle in this game is pretty forgiving, so as long as you're looking at them, it should be fine. When you successfully parry somebody, you'll either get an orange or a green effect in the middle of your screen. The orange effect is just a normal parry, which mainly lowers your own posture, while green parries are much better because they increase your aura bar and raise your opponent's posture. Landing green parries in this game is very important because if you consistently land it, you can rip people's arm off, destroy somebody's blade, and get some pretty cool aura animations. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's move on to the Shikai fight. The Shikai fight has 3 stages. The first stage, the Shikai boss, starts with a whopping 14 bars of HP. This NPC uses every move in your skill tree, whether you have it unlocked yet or you don't, meaning it can use a move that requires 300 skill points invested, but you only have like 150 in it. Once you beat the first stage, the boss will respawn with another 14 bars of HP, meaning you have to do 28 bars of HP to your Shikai boss. But that's not all yet, because once you've done 25 bars of HP, the boss will regain his HP all the way back to half HP, meaning you have to do a total of 32 HP bars. I know it does sound like a lot, and it is a lot, but as I'm recording this, the devs added a 25% health pack after the first stage and lowered the stats of the Shikai boss, so it should be way easier than what you've seen before release. Once you finally beat your Shikai, you'll obtain Shikai and be able to pop your mode, which happens when you hold E. This mode gives a health pack when you use it, and also you're probably wondering where your moves are. You gotta get 3 more whispers, and each whisper you get, you gotta go back to your inner world and talk to yourself. They might have changed this by now, but probably not. And I'm pretty sure Soul Reapers are the only race that have to grind even more after your fight, which is kind of crazy, but you gotta do what you gotta do, bruh. Once you've done the 3 extra meditations, talk to yourself and the NPC will tell you to find your true sword, which is the sword you've been using in your Shikai mode. I don't have the clip for this, but it's pretty self-explanatory, and once you've completed that, the game will finally give you 2 extra moves depending on what Shikai you roll. If you're curious on what the Shikai percents are, Tenbone Zakura is a legendary at 1%, the Rays being Ink at 9%, Fire and Ice at uncommon, and Confusion as a common. Once you get your Shikai, you also get something called ability points, which you can either put into damage, Ryatsu efficiency, rate, or status duration. Some Shikais like Confusion will be missing some of them, like damage, because it has no moves that do damage. It's a visual Shikai for confusing your enemy, not a damaging one. We get 1 ability point every 10% with a maximum of 10, and every time you get a certain level on one of those stats, your ability uniquely changes into something that a normal Shikai wouldn't have, so make sure you put your points into something that actually benefits your Shikai instead of randomly spreading them out. As for re-rolling, the game does have a pity system, so after 100 spins, you're guaranteed a legendary Shikai. You can get Shikai rerolls from raids, boss chests, and other late game loot. And if you guys want me to showcase every Shikai in the game, let me know down in the comments and I'll see if I could do it. Now let's move on to the skill essences like Kiritsugi. You can obtain skill essences from world bosses and raids, and each one comes with its own requirement before you could use it. For example, Kiritsugi requires you to be a Soul Reaper with 360 Keto, while Grand Race Hero requires you to be 360 Keto and being hollow. The system is pretty similar to Type Soul's Ultra skills, where getting the skills is only part of the process. You still need the actual stats to use it, and some skill essences are a lot harder to fit into builds because skill essences like Kiritsugi and Grand Race Hero need 9 skill points. So before throwing points into random stats, make sure you know what skills you want to use later on so you don't end up locking yourself out of it. Also, there's statues around the map that each do different things. The statue in Soul Society lets you refund your skill, so if you don't like a skill that you invested your points into, you can remove it, and it's located near the Scorpion Hollows. The Shrine in Arctic Plains can give an extra level to skills, which is pretty useful later on, and then the one in Wakamundo just got changed, so I don't know what it does. And for the Soul Society statue, you'll need materials like the Strength, Intelligence, and Courage extracts. Strength extract drops from the Crocodile King, Intelligence from the tutorial boss or the Kratos boss Securus, and the Courage extract which drops from the Master Warrior. Anyways, I think that's it for the basics and progression for Soul Reapers. There's no Bankai or anything in the game just yet. If this guide helped you out, make sure to leave a like and subscribe because it really helps out the channel. If I missed anything or you got questions, drop them in the comments and I'll try to respond. I'll probably make some more VV content covering PvP builds, and if you end up making another slot, make sure to check out my other race guides as well, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.